Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett during the House Judiciary Committee went off on the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief, Donald Trump. Watch.
Since January, Donald Trump has used the full power of the federal government to attack Americans in cities across the country. In Donald Trump's America, you are at increased risk of experiencing militaristic operations in your home, increased risk of being subject to detainment by mass thugs and wannabe vigilantes, increased risk of suffering injuries due to reckless and illegal acts by rogue federal agents, increased risk of being deported to foreign nations even if you are an American citizen, and you're at an increased risk of being targeted by federal government for criticizing the president and his friends. Congressional Republicans have completely abandoned their Article I powers and have exchanged their responsibility to their constituents with fealty to the president. They have allowed the president to morph federal agencies into instruments of autocracy. And as a result, the president has been able to ignore federal law, disregard court orders, and implement the largest pay-for-play scheme in American history. The White House, well, what's left of it anyway, is literally up for sale. The federal courts have characterized this presidency as, quote, lawless. In fact, when ruling against illegal acts committed by the administration, a Republican-appointed federal judge stated, quote, the court cannot imagine how the public interest might be served by permitting federal officials to flaunt the very laws they have sworn to enforce. In a separate case where the administration was sued for unlawful acts, the judge, also a Republican appointee, stated, quote, allowing constitutional rights to be dependent upon the grace of the executive branch would be a dereliction of duty by this third and independent branch of government and would be against the public interest. But in another case, the court summed it up perfectly by declaring, quote, as is becoming far too common, we are confronted again with the efforts of the executive branch to set aside the rule of law in pursuit of its own goals. Judiciary Committee Republicans have been completely complicit in this corruption. But since they're so interested in restoring law and order, I have a couple of suggestions on where they can start. Number one, this is the President of the United States standing beside his best friend, Jeffrey Epstein. As we all know, Mr. Epstein is one of the most notorious sexual predators in American history. For 8 weeks, the Republicans on this committee have chosen to protect these two men instead of providing justice to Mr. Epstein's victims. Now the administration is panicking. First, they campaigned on releasing the Epstein files. Then AG Bondi and associates did a photo op with the files, and she said, and I quote, the Epstein list is on my desk. Then somehow the Epstein list didn't exist. Then the Epstein files became a Democratic hoax. Now the president is supposedly supportive of releasing the files, even though he's currently ignoring a congressional subpoena to do so. Now the president is simply crashing out. And it's because he can't seem to explain his special decades-long relationship with one of the most prominent sexual predators in American history. It's already public that he's in the Epstein files, but his administration is hiding the context of his involvement, if any, with Mr. Epstein's horrific crimes. Now, this is Miss Ghislaine Maxwell. Miss Maxwell, who obviously helped Jeffrey Epstein traffic more than 1,000 women and girls, well, Donald Trump is now giving her special treatment while she's serving out her prison sentence. He won't even rule out giving her a pardon or commuting her sentence. I don't need to explain why pardoning sex traffickers wouldn't be restoring law and order. Now, this is Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. Not only has Secretary Noem been busy filming propaganda ads, she's also been busy cashing in on millions of taxpayer dollars. In fact, Secretary Noem has funneled millions of dollars to a company called the Strategy Group. The Strategy Group helped Secretary Noem win her campaign to become the governor of South Dakota. Corey Lewandowski, her top policy advisor, has worked with the firm. And the company's CEO is married to Secretary Noem's chief spokesperson, Mrs. Tricia McLaughlin. This is what corruption looks like. They're stealing money from the American people's pockets and depositing it into their bank accounts. Now we move on to yet somebody else. This is the so-called border czar, Tom Homan. Mr. Homan is on tape accepting $50,000 in cash bribes stuffed in a brown paper bag from an undercover FBI agent. Apparently, Mr. Homan accepted these bribes in exchange for awarding federal contracts to his friends. Trump's Department of Justice killed the investigation into Mr. Homan's crimes, and congressional Republicans didn't say a mumbling word. Lastly, this is insurrectionist and Nazi sympathizer Ed Martin. It appears that Mr. Martin is functioning as the Associate Deputy Attorney General, Pardon Attorney, Director of the Fake Weaponization Working Group, and Special Attorney for Mortgage Fraud. All that means is that Mr. Martin is Trump's lapdog, whom the president sends to initiate lawsuits against the president's perceived political opponents. This is what we call organized crime. They're breaking the law, often by stealing taxpayer dollars, covering up their crimes by ending and obstructing investigations, then prosecuting people who call out their unlawful behavior. And while the Republicans are encouraging this corruption, they're abandoning actual victims of violent crime and ignoring the Republican-led state's 21st century murder crisis. In September's appropriation markup, congressional Republicans proposed reducing the FBI staff by thousands of positions and underfunding the agency by more than $1 billion. They've proposed slashing resources from the ATF. They've proposed cutting grants for juvenile justice programs and hate crimes and eliminating the community violence intervention and prevention grants. They're literally defunding the police. So no matter what they say at today's hearing, congressional Republicans have proven that they are not investing in keeping American communities safe from violent crime. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
You know, it's hilarious sitting there listening to Congresswoman Crockett talk about corruption, Reese. And Dan Bongino, you know, the one who got a pass when it came to being vetted, he actually put this tweet out today. Public corruption will not be tolerated. Come on, go to the tweet. Come on. Public corruption will not be tolerated. Reese, I'm laughing because Donald Trump has pardoned a number of people who were convicted of public corruption. So I'm like, it ain't no shock they let Tom Homan off the hook for taking that 50 grand.
Donald Trump is a convicted felon. Let's also remind people that. So he is the epitome of corruption. He's been civilly also convicted in order to pay tens of millions of dollars for fraudulent business activities. So he is the epitome of corrupt. And as Congresswoman Crockett pointed out, I mean, it's like a mob boss. This is a shakedown half the time. So I think Dan Bongino, I think he maybe is trying to distract from the fact that he was one of the people calling for the Epstein files before he became, undeservedly so, the deputy FBI director. But nobody believes anything you got to say, Dan. Okay, so bye-bye.
I just sit here, Joy, and I mean, first of all, let's just be real clear. Yeah. Donald Trump is completely, undoubtedly, absolutely, undeniably corrupt. Mm-hmm. He is. I mean, so they are pimping the White House. This is like telling, hey, Bonnie and Clyde, we're going to hire y'all to be a bank manager. I mean, that's easy for them. Like, that's literally, I mean, what these fools are doing, the selling of access, the pimping, the deals being cut. You can buy this dude off. There is no announcement. There is no announcement made out of his mouth where I don't instantly think he got a check. Somebody paid him. Mm-hmm. He is selling pardons. I don't give a damn what. Yeah. He's selling pardons.
He's absolutely selling pardons. And then when he can't sell it, he just doesn't prosecute at all. He undoes things that were already in progress for his friends. And then when they point it out, they say, you know what, this person invested in your company, or this person has a personal relationship with someone who has a financial interest in your company. He says, oh, well, a lot of people like them, as if that's a legal standard. This man is corrupt. Birds of a feather flock together. And, you know, I was listening like, why is he just being so open about it? I personally think he's being open about it because it serves two purposes. One, it lines his pockets. But the other thing is it distracts us all, right? So now we have to talk about it, and we should, right? But it hides whatever else corrupt he's doing down the line. Moreover, I think just things aren't working together on policy. The economy, as we began the show, the economy is doing poorly. His tariff policies aren't going the way he wants them to go unless he tries to buy people, right? Where they give him, like the Swiss did, give him a watch or give him a gold bar or give him something, right? And also like his immigration policies are hated. All around, he's seeing failure after failure. Governing is harder than it's ever been. And his foreign policies are not the success that he purports them to be. And so he's going back to what he knows.
Well,
what he knows is the grift.
Look, he wants to be a dictator. He desperately wants to be a dictator. Now federal judges rule that, yes, his order to have National Guard in D.C. was unlawful. More federal judges are ruling against him. And so this is somebody who is absolutely, beyond a doubt, idiotic. And we're seeing what happens when you put someone who has no morals, no values, no principles, no ethics in a position of authority. Greg Carr joins us right now. And Greg, what Congresswoman Crockett laid out, we're dealing with a dictator. We're dealing with somebody who loves dictators, and we're dealing with a thug. He is the thug in chief. He is a corrupt thug. That's who Donald Trump is. And MAGA, for every day they suck up to him, all they're simply doing is just lining his pockets, and he don't give a damn about none of they broke asses.
None.
He does not, brother. He does not. And forgive me for being late and for the lighting. I'm here in Philadelphia, the Black Male Educator convening. A room, 1,000 educators from all over the country, mostly black men. And if I got stopped one time, I got stopped 300 times today to tell you that the Black Star Network must succeed, and all these people watching. So someone went back to the hotel rooms and watched that. I had to give you that message first of all.
I appreciate it.
Anyway, but yes, Congresswoman Crockett is really showing the way. Keep your foot on his neck. As you've been laying out now for months, and certainly we're seeing it now. I think he may have peaked. As you say, the judges are pushing back now, whether it be Utah, whether it be district and state judges, whether it be his person in Virginia and in New York who are in trouble now as these federal judges say, you weren't even appointed. And wait a minute, wait, you're filing claims to the grand jury and you didn't even give them the true bill? So he may have peaked. This stunt he pulled with Mohammed bin Salman this week in the White House, when approached about the journalist Jamal Khashoggi to say, hey, a lot of people didn't like him and things happened. Donald Trump, we know, is mentally ill. We know he's not well. But what Congresswoman Crockett is doing now is pressing the advantage. If we had some more people to follow her lead and join her, I think you would see a very big sea change. We certainly saw it with Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna and the four who would not be shaken, who decided to go ahead on the Republican side and move toward getting the Epstein files released. I don't expect they're going to be released. But you saw not only was only the one congressperson, that crazy Clay Higgins that you've been roasting, vote not to release them, but the following day they then voted unanimously, Senate and House representatives, to say, oh, and that money you trying to steal, $500,000 floor, you going to stop doing that. Everybody had to vote against that. What Jasmine Crockett is doing, what Representative Crockett is doing, is basically delivering a playbook from the House of Representatives on how to speak truth to power and to be fearless. Between what she's doing and what, a person like Gavin Newsom is doing in California, I think this is what turns the tide as this thing has. I really do believe it's beginning to peak.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.